about that? There we go. All right. YouTube folks. I know it's not a lot of YouTube folks out there just yet, but they'll be out there on the replay for sure. All right. So, for those of you on Facebook, and you don't know, I decided to do a simulcast, YouTube and Facebook. So if I'm looking at you over here, that's Facebook. If I'm looking at you over here, that's YouTube. If you want to get some double angles on me, then you can watch both. All right. But every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Ernest Williams Tango Show. I'm Ernest Williams, and this is my show. So I decided to do this because I felt like I had a lot to say about tango, my experiences in tango, my philosophies in tango. This show is geared towards folks that are not tango dancers, folks that are new to tango, and folks that are experienced in tango. And those who are interested in what it's like to be a African American dance instructor in tango. All right. So, and I'm sorry I have to have my glasses on. You might see a little glare because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to see any comments or anything like that. So maybe I need to get me some contacts or something like that, but bear with me on that. Okay. So far what we've talked about in episodes 1 and 2, which you can find on YouTube at Ernest Williams Tango, were topics such as what Argentine tango is, why folks might be somewhat confused about what tango is when they hear tango and they say, oh, I've always wanted to do tango and all these things, but they never try it. And I gave reasons why you might want to try it, why I love it, why I've been doing it for so long. And even though I'm a stepper as well, I love tango. That's why they call me Tango Ernest in the stepping world. So the second episode, we talked about the history of tango, and we talked about some aspects of the African roots of tango, because a lot of people don't know that tango has African roots. That means that Black people were integral in the development of tango, even if you don't see a lot of us doing it now, which is the case in a lot of dance forms, okay, and other aspects of culture that developed since the slave trade. So I talked more about that. Today, I'm going to start talking about my evolution in tango. And, you know, people might be like, well, so what? What do you have to say? Well, I have a whole lot to say. I have a lot of interesting stories that I will go over, take my time and tell you guys stories. I'll talk about philosophies, current philosophies and teaching and what it's all about. I'll get some clips and things as time goes on and show you different things that I've done and I'm currently doing. so you can be brought into the world of Argentine tango from my perspective. Today, we talk about the beginnings. All right. A lot of times people ask me, so how'd you get into tango? You know, because I am a national instructor. I've taught all over the country. I've even taught in Argentina and Uruguay, where tango is from. And although I haven't done as much traveling recently because I've been focusing on other things, I have a lot of stories about travels and other things that has happened over the past 18 years of being a tango dancer. So I started in 2000, and it was interesting. I was in the military. I was in the Army, and I was stationed at the Defense Language Institute. And I was a Korean linguist in intelligence. So I learned Korean to some degree. Don't ask me to speak it now because I've forgotten just about all of it. But at the time, I was in school learning Korean. And this was in 1999, and on post, they had swing dance classes. They had like Lindy Hop dance classes, and they had salsa at the NCO club on post. And I started doing that. And that was in 1999. It was after class. We had class all day, every day. You know, after class, we had to do our homework, whatever, and then we had free time. And that free time was like boring, okay? After you've done some of the stupid stuff that people would do, I didn't really get into. I was a little older when I got into the military. I didn't go into the military right out of high school. I had graduated from college already. I had worked a couple of years in corporate America before I decided to join the military. So I wasn't into doing all the crazy stuff that the people that were just getting their freedom from home were trying to do. So I went to the NCO club on a salsa night and fake salsa dancing there. And then I would go to the salsa club or the club off post that had a salsa night on Sunday night and do a little something there. And one time I asked a friend of mine who was in class, a female friend, who was into belly dancing. I said, hey, you want to go out salsa dancing with me on Sunday night at the club off post? She was like, oh, nah, I don't know about all that because we got to get up in the morning and learn Korean. And that's just not easy to do. So I said, yeah, you're right. But she said, hey, why don't we go and take a ballroom dance class at the community college that was off post? We could do that on Fridays. And I said, okay. Well, at first I was like, I don't know. Ballroom dancing sounds kind of stodgy and boring and not cool. But she made it seem all, exciting. She was like, oh no, yeah, we can go and do the cha-cha, and the merengue, and the tango, right? And she made it seem all, she was all animated and stuff. So I was like, all right, well, I'll do it with you. So that fall semester, we enrolled in ballroom dance class. And we were good, right? We were only two black folks doing it. So, and we picked it up pretty well, right? Near the end of the semester, I started wanting to go out to dance, And I asked her, I said, hey, let's go out and actually dance at a ballroom dance event. And at that point, she had this friend that she started getting serious as a boyfriend, and then he started tripping and not wanting me to go out with her. And he wanted her to go out with him, and then that was the end of our partnership. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go out by myself. Now, class wasn't over quite yet. I mean, the semester wasn't over. We had a couple more to go, but that was what happened. So she was out of the picture. I started going out ballroom dancing. And one time I went out ballroom dancing, probably like the first or second time. And somebody asked me, hey, have you ever tried Argentine tango? And I was like, no, but that sounds cool. It sounds sexy. It sounds exotic, right? And it was like, why? Because the word Argentine was in front of it. We had already done tango. Ballroom tango in the class. It was one of the dances we did. Waltz, we did. Foxtrot, we did. Salsa, we did. Rumba. These are like some of the ones we did. A little swing, East Coast swing, and tango. And we did them all, and they were all fun, equally fun. But then the word Argentine tango just sounded very different, and obviously we were at a ballroom event. I had just finished doing some tango. So since somebody asked me, had I ever done Argentine tango, I was like, well, obviously it must be something different since she just saw me do some regular tango, right? So I was like, hey, all right, I'll do that, okay? So I said, hey, check me out before you leave. She said, I'm going to an event right after this. I'm going to go to do some tango after this. I said, well, hey, all right, tell me before you leave and I'll go with you. She left without me. So I couldn't find a tango. But now I'm up here like, I want to find some tango, right? Or at least Argentine tango, since this tango, I don't know. I was okay with it, but I wasn't like flabbergasted by it, So I said, well, I'll just maybe when I come back and find her, I'll ask her again. But meanwhile, I went back to class. It was last class of the semester, ballroom class. And they had moved the class to a new room because of something, or somebody was using our room. So we moved to a different room for the last class. And lo and behold, there was a flyer on the wall. You know those like flyers that you find on college campuses where they have, it's all written out, and then they cut the little tabs on the bottom with the phone numbers written on there, and then you got to pull one of the tabs and stuff with the little number here and a name called, Fernando, right? And that was my first teacher, actually, Fernando. But I picked it, and then I was like, yes, I'm gonna call it. Let me just put it in my pocket, and then I call it later. I don't even know if I had a cell phone or not. I probably did. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Maybe they took it away from me in the Army. They probably did. I don't know. I can't remember. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna call, and lost the number. So this was the last class of the semester, and I had to wait all the way through Christmas, most of the way through January, to go back to that particular room when school started again, and to get another one of those tabs and call it immediately so I can find it. So I went to my first class in February, early February 2000, and I fell in love with it. It was interesting. I had met another lady at ballroom that I had invited to come with me to this class. And she was an African American woman. And she was like, okay, well, normally I'm doing stuff on Thursdays. This class is on Thursday. But I'm not doing this on Thursday. Actually, she was a Jehovah's Witness. I remember she had meetings on Thursdays, but something happened where she wasn't having a meeting. So she came with me, and I had a great time, right? She didn't. So lo and behold, we never saw each other again. But when I got there, I was the youngest person there. Well, there's probably been one other person somewhere around my age. But I was the youngest person there, the only black guy there. And I was picking it up pretty well for my first time. And this class, it was a beginner's class, then an intermediate class. And all the intermediate people came to the beginner's class to help the beginners. And then they stayed for intermediate. And it was great. People were helping me out, encouraging me and telling me how well I was doing. The other lady was struggling. And they were happy to see me because they thought I was going to be able to bring all these young men from the military into the class. The class already had 30 or 40 people in it. It was in Monterey, California. Well, actually, I was stationed in Monterey, California, but the actual class was in a neighboring town called Carmel, which, is really beautiful and all that good stuff. Rich people live there. So, but people were, happy to see me and hoping I was going to bring a lot of people. I tried. I even brought a couple of people, but they were like, man, these people are older and this is not cool, and where are all the young hot chicks? So lo and behold, I wasn't able to get a lot of the guys to come and stick around, but I did, right? And we had class every week. We had a practica every week. So if you're like, practica, hey Sylvia, how you doing? I see you. We had a practica every week, and the practica was a practice session. And the practice session was kind of like what they do in Steppin', actually, where they have everybody in a room and you have multiple classes going on at different levels, and in the room, different people are leading different groups. And they are, teaching folks. So within that hour or hour and a half or 2 or 3 hours, anybody can come in and practice and get help from random people. And anybody can come in and leave whenever they want, when they can help people, right? Kind of like Donnie Davis's class, actually. Donnie Davis's class after he's teaching is like a practica. And a lot of people in Tango nowadays don't really use the practica like I believe it should be used. They use it like just a regular old milonga. A milonga is a tango party, like a stepper set or a social, in salsa or some other dance forms, or a dance party, period. Okay? So that's what a milonga is, for those who don't know. So they treat it like a milonga, where you have to, watch people, and then you ask somebody to dance, and then you dance with them for 3 or 4 songs in a row. And then when the tango music changes to some other type of music that's not tango, for a split for about 40 seconds or so, that gives you opportunity to separate from your partner, thank them for dancing with you, and then you start again with someone else. It's called a tanda. A tanda of music, of tango music, is like 3 or 4 songs that you commit to dancing with a person. Each of the songs are pretty short, so you're talking about 9 to 12 minutes you're going to be dancing with somebody, with breaks in between. When one song ends and the next song starts, okay? So that is, then there's a cortina, or a curtain, or a break of non-tango music that they play for about anywhere from 30 to 45, 50 seconds. It could be any kind of music. It could be hip hop, it could be jazz, it could be classical, whatever the DJ likes. And that lets you know, okay, it's time to thank your partner and move on. All right, so you walk your partner back to their seat, and then you sit down, and then when the next music starts, you find another partner, and then you dance with them for the duration of the tanda. Okay, so anyway, so we had one milonga a month. We had every week on Tuesday we had a practica, and every Thursday we had class. So I would go to the practicas, I would learn different things from the more experienced dancers, and I would help. I wasn't really helping anybody at that point. I would practice with people, but that was really helpful in order to learn, since we only had enough people. The community was a small community, actually. The people that came to the class was everybody in the community primarily. So we had 40 people. We might have a few people from neighboring communities come to our milonga, but if we wanted to really dance often at a higher level, we would have to go to San Francisco, or at least close to San Francisco, which was about an hour and a half away. So it wasn't too far, but far enough to not want to do that every week. So what are some of the things that happened in the class? Well, I remember one of the teacher, Fernando Filippelli, he had an assistant, a lady, I forget her name right now, but she had a friend, and a friend was from San Francisco, and she, one time, I was dancing with her, and I was doing some moves and stuff, and I was doing this basic move, right? And it's called a cross. And I'll demonstrate it at another time, but it was a very simple thing, a very basic thing that you learn, right? Where you ask the lady to put one foot in front of the other one while she's walking backwards. And I'm like, normally, there are two schools of thought on how to do this. And one is that when you walk outside of your partner, side by side, but you walk towards your partner outside, instead of right in front of each other, you walk staggered to the outside of her. And then you do that for 2 steps, and then she crosses left over right, her feet. And it's like, okay, all you gotta do, guys, is you just step outside, partner, you walk, and 2 steps later, she crosses. Well, that's what I thought. That's what I was taught, right? So I did my thing. I went outside, partner, and I did my 2 steps, and she didn't cross. And I was like, well, okay, let me try it again. Maybe I didn't walk outside partner enough or something, right? So I just do it again. I walk outside partner, and she didn't cross. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? She said, are you trying to get me to cross? I said, well, yeah, I did what I was supposed to do. I did my 2 steps. I walked outside partner, and lo and behold, you did not cross. Why did you not cross? She said, you got to lead it. I said, what do you mean I have to lead it? I did I did my thing. I walked 2 steps outside, and you're supposed to cross, right? And she said, you have to lead it. And I was like, I have to lead it. So what does that mean? And she wasn't going to give me any help, right? And I was like, okay, well, so I walked outside partner and I got to my second step. And I knew she wasn't going to cross unless I did something different, right? So I'm like, so I turned her a little bit and I kind of sent her on an angle and then she crossed. I was like, oh, she said, there you go. I was like, oh, well, let me try it again. I went and then I walked outside partner and I turned her a little bit and I went on an angle and boom, she crossed again. I was like, oh, okay. So now she said, as far as I'm concerned, you have to lead the cross. All that you just outside partner automatic stuff, I don't believe in that. In Tango, you have to lead everything. Everything. And from that point on, I switched from the automatic cross school of thought to the it has to be led. Everything has to be led. So I know there are a lot of people out there who still lead or still teach that concept of you have to go outside partner, well, and then that's all you do. You walk 2 steps, automatically she crosses. But since then, I've developed teaching concepts and philosophies that branched off of there. So then I'm like, okay, well, what happens if you don't go outside partner? If going outside partner isn't necessarily what makes a person cross, what if I don't go outside partner? Can I still get her to cross? What if I just do that part that I normally did to get her to cross, but not do it outside partner? Can that work? Yes, it can. I do it all the time. Well, what if you go outside partner and you don't want her to cross? You just want to step 3, 4, 5 steps outside partner. Can you do that? Yes, you can. I do it all the time. So, it doesn't matter what the other person's school of thought is, the follower's school of thought is. I know how to lead both. And it works most of the time, if not all the time. Okay? So now there might be, special extra things you have to do if you're dealing with somebody who is of that school of thought and they're new and they're dancing and they're going to try to force something or resist something, and you have to kind of, use a couple of little tricks to let them know that actually I don't want you to cross. Okay? So, anyway, one other time, another story around that same time, I went to Los Altos to an event. Nora Denzelbacher was having a milonga. I don't know if it was during one of her special events or just her normal thing. I think it was hers. And I was still new in the game, less than a year, and I went out there to dance. And I remember I was dancing and I went up I was doing my stuff, right? And I did this move. I don't know what the move was. And she didn't get it. And so I was dancing some more, and I did that move again. And then she said, "Are you trying to lead a blah, blah, blah?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, I thought that's what you were trying to lead, but I didn't know that's what you were trying to do. I didn't expect that from you." And I was like, well, what does that mean? What it meant was the quality of my dance was such that I did this outlier move that was probably more advanced than my normal dancing. And she didn't think, based on my level of dancing and the stuff I was doing, that if I did this one thing way over here, it didn't match the rest of my dance, either in style or level. So she thought I was making some mistake, and she was trying to find whatever she might have thought that was the most similar thing that somebody like me should be leading. So, what does that mean? That means I was doing stuff, my dance, and then I learned some random thing, maybe at a practical or something, and I learned how to do it. And I even learned how to lead it. But it was out of context. Maybe I wasn't ready to make that part of my repertoire yet, because I had a lot of other gaps in my dancing between what I was doing and what that was that I wasn't doing. So I had to, well, first of all, once she knew that's what I was leading, then when I led it, she followed it, because it became within her realm of possibility when it comes to me. And then she was more open in general to stuff, to whatever I was doing, and not knowing, not expecting, not anticipating what I would be doing. All right, so that was a learning thing for me. For my students out there, you'll hear some things, and when you'll be able to make the connection of, oh, that's why he has that philosophy. This is the pivotal moment that helped him develop that philosophy. So what is the philosophy that I developed from that? I know oftentimes we want to learn all these random moves, right? When we're early on in our dance career. But sometimes you put the cart before the horse, and you really shouldn't be spending your time learning that thing. You should be spending your time learning the next thing that you need to learn based on what you already know. Because most things have some prerequisite that you need to understand in order to be able to do that move well. And that prerequisite is in of itself a move or a concept or something you can use in your dance. So you're not just doing, all this close embrace, real, basic stuff, and then all of a sudden this big flashy nuevo move, and then back to your close embrace. Like, where'd that come from? That's not part of your dance. That took me out of the zone that I was in, following some nice close embrace dancing that was basic but felt really nice. Then you threw this acrobatic move in the middle of it, right? That's like just trying to, if you're stepping or something, you're dancing with old school lady or something, you decide you want to turn around and do a neck drop and dip her and lift her over your head all of a sudden. She's like, oh, what you doing, partner? Slow your roll. This is not what I signed up for when I accepted a dance with you, right? So that's, a thing. And also now I'm just, sometimes I'm going tangents because some things I say will remind me of other things. Along that line of learning things that are not part of your dance, and this goes for all dance forms, I think, especially partner dance forms. If you're a beginner and you're learning, you taking classes from a teacher, in the beginning, you should do what you can to find a good teacher early. Within your first few outings, do what you can, talk to folks, maybe check out a few classes, see who you like, and get, and hopefully you'll find a good teacher. Then you need to stick with that teacher through your foundation. And this could be any dance: tango, stepping, salsa, kizomba, swing, whatever. Okay? Because what happens is, all too often people feel like, oh, I'm just so excited about this dance. I'm gonna go to every class I can find. And the more classes I go to, the better. And that's not true. You know what I'm saying? What happens is you go from class to class, and every teacher is teaching you something different. They're teaching you their way to get to where you're going. Even if they will teach you the same thing as the other person does, they may not teach it in the same order. They might not give it the same emphasis. And then you're going from class to class to class. Then you start skipping some people's classes, and then you're going, and then now you're missing somebody's progression for you, and then you're filling in with somebody else's progression, and now you got this. It's like a mosaic, or like when they have those serial killer or ransom notes and stuff, where they just cut letters out of magazines and stuff and put it together. And so you see this message, but it's of all these different crazy letters that don't match. And then what happens, you wind up taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes 1 step forward, 2 steps back, because now you're confused. And people are like, I don't know, I go to this person, and they say you're supposed to walk on your toes. And then this person says you should be grounded and flat-footed. So, they're both teachers. And they're both great dancers. So people love to dance with them. So which one is right? I'm so confused. Well, that one works with them, and their whole philosophy and their whole dance that's built using that same philosophy, it all works for them. And this person, that one works for them. But if you took parts of this person's dance, it wouldn't work with parts of this person's dance within one person, because the philosophies wouldn't jive. Okay? So this person built their dance on a flat-footed version, and everything above their feet all the way up to their head supports that. This person does it on their toes, and everything they do supports that. Now, they both may be great to dance with. You know what I'm saying? But they may not mix well. So you have to keep that in mind. All right? So I digress. I find that as I know this is the Tango show, but I'm a stepper as well, and I'm based in Chicago. And I moved to Chicago because they had stepping here. I'll talk about that when I get to that point. Right now, we're still in the year 2000. 2001. So you can see how the show is going to go, at least for, and then I'll add some footage and stuff later on too. But when I'm here talking, it's going to be a stream of consciousness as I tell stories and as things come up that I hold true, and it informs who I am and how I come to the very different sometimes philosophies that I have from other folks. This is what you get, and hopefully you'll follow me along in this journey. So I was dancing. This lady didn't follow what I was doing because I was doing some different things that didn't fit my dance. So when you go to that one teacher, they should be able to get you from A to F at least, or whatever, so you get to a point where you now understand what the dance is about. You can put together a good dance. You know enough in order to be able to go to another teacher, and if that teacher says something different, you don't have to start at square one. You put that new information in your dance if it works for your dance style. Now, if you want to change your whole dance style, then you got to start over somewhat, but then you can go to different people and you can pick and choose the things that you want to make part of your dance. Then you can, but I would suggest if you have a good teacher, you get your dancing up through your intermediate level from that person. And maybe take workshops and different things from different instructors, visiting instructors or whatever. But after you're done with that teacher is giving you all that they can, then you can just do whatever, go to anybody's classes. You already have a foundation. You already have your philosophies developed. So you can confidently go and know what the difference is, but what's the difference between good and bad, right and wrong, or just different. Okay? Just different. So, and we all need difference, we all need variety, so that everybody's not dancing the same. So you get a different experience every time you dance with somebody new. That's what it's all about. Okay? So teachers have to teach things differently. They can teach, it still has to be the structure of the dance so you can dance with somebody else. But you want to give them a different experience. So the different flavors that each teacher gives you and the ones you get from different places and put your personality in there makes for a good dance. Okay? So I just need you to take that. A lot of beginners and the people that's not even beginners. They're still, 3, 4, 5 years in the game, learning this dance. And a lot of people have a lot of struggles, a lot of confusion, a lot of long held unanswered questions or new questions, things they thought they knew, but now they're not so sure because they were exposed to something else. So I am here to take you through a lot of these journeys that I've been through and that other people have been through, people's stories that I've come across, people who I've come across their stories. I'll relay some of those to you. I've heard so many things in my teaching that is relevant to a lot of dance forms. So, so I was in Monterey, or the Monterey area, for the first year and a half. of my dancing. Maybe, at least 10 months. No, 10 months I remember. Then I was transferred to Goodfellow Air Force Base. I was still in the Army. This was in San Angelo, Texas. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was this 1 by 1 mile, square mile post, which is small. And it had all the branches of the military there. Had tumbleweeds out, across the roads. It had had a college there, a San Angelo State College, small college. But that was it. Basically nothing was going on there. As soon as I got there, it was, Thanksgiving weekend. I had off. So I was transferred there from Monterey, and then I got in the car and went on the road to go home. So I was in California, went to Texas. My home was Virginia, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach area. So I decided to drive home for the extended weekend, the 4-day weekend. We have 4 or 5 days or something. And I stopped in Atlanta and found some dancing there. And Rhonda and Manuel Patino, which I hope they see this, welcomed me with open arms. I went to Milonga they had in their house that was big and beautiful. It was it was like a big loft or something in a brick industrial building that was converted into condos or something like that. And I remember they had the downstairs. When you walk on the main floor, it was the living room, and that was where all the dancing was happening. Then you go downstairs was where their bedrooms and stuff were. I didn't go down there, but I thought that was cool, the way that was set up. But anyway, went there and got some dancing in, met some cool people, and then kept going and drove to Virginia. Said hi to my mom. I had been in basic training and I had been in language training. So I was gone for 2 years because that language training took a long time. So I went back home to visit folks, family. One day I turned around and started driving back. Stopped in Atlanta. Was it Atlanta? I stopped in Atlanta. Oh, actually, I stopped in 2 places on the way there and 2 places on the way back. Or maybe 1 place on the way back. I stopped in New Orleans and I stopped in Atlanta. New Orleans, there was Alberto Paz and Valerie Hart. They had a milonga going on. And I remember stopping there and had a great time. I remember seeing Alberto and Valerie. It was funny. They were dancing one song where she had her arms around his neck and he had his arms in his pocket, both of his hands in his pocket, and he was dancing. They were dancing, did this real intricate tango where he didn't even have his arms around her. As a matter of fact, did he have a cigarette in his hand? He might even have had a cigarette in one hand and his hand in his pocket, the other hand in the pocket. Thought it was really cool. Had a lot of swagger. But I remember that. And they were really nice. So I stopped there on the way there and on the way back. I think I only stopped in New Orleans on the way back, not Atlanta. because of just they had something going on that I could stop in at. But that was when I started to travel. So I spent 6 months in Goodfellow Air Force Base. Not a lot of tango happening then. I got away one more time while I was still in Texas, and I went to Dallas to dance overnight. And that was a good experience too. But at this point I was a year and a half into the game. And just really getting started. But right now I'm gonna close this out because there's another chapter that starting in Hawaii. Because I was transferred to Hawaii, and that's where my tango career started. So we'll talk about that. But right now, before I close out, I want to let you know some exciting news. One is that I have a website that I'm developing that will allow folks to learn all different types of dances, all the dances under the sun, via live stream, online classes with instructors from all over the world. So you will be able to talk face to face via webcam. You can have private lessons like that. You can have one teacher teaching a group that the teacher can see. That's webcam classes. It could be live broadcasts like this one where the instructor just broadcasts to anyone who wants to watch the class. It could be thousands of people all over the world. They could live broadcast their actual live class, in-person class, so that everybody can participate. Or they can be in their living room or their personal studio and teach to the masses. And they could also have pre-recorded videos that are on demand for students to learn whenever they want. Loxy Stream Media, or loxystream.com, is the name of the website. LOXYSTREAM.com. And the company is Loxy Media Corp. Loxy Media Corp. But more importantly, loxystream.com. It's in development. It'll be coming out soon. And I want all of you to check it out. Okay? Currently, I have group classes Wednesdays at the Silver Room. I almost said Mambo Room. That's in Norfolk, Virginia. Hey, what's up, Tracy? From the Mambo Room. No, the Silver Room, located at 1506 East 53rd Street in Chicago. 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is a beginner class. 7 to 8, intermediate class. Come check me out. I also have another class on Thursdays, 7:30 to 8:30, fundamentals class, beginners class, with me and Anna Karasik. We're both collaborating on that class, my partner there. And then after that is 8:30 to 9:30, intermediate class. 9:30 to 12:30 is a milonga. Each of the classes, even the ones on Wednesdays, are $10. Milonga is $10. But if you come on Thursday and take 2 classes, the milonga is free. Or if you come and, so the maximum basically would be $20. You would not have to pay $30 if you did both classes and the milonga. So that's located at the Turkish Cuisine restaurant where you can get some great food. That's at 2546 West Peterson Avenue. That's in the north side. One class is in the south side, one's in the north side. So 2546 West Peterson Avenue, Chicago. Turkish Cuisine Thursdays. You can check me out, give me a call, 773-644-1502. 773-644-1502. Okay, so I do private lessons, I do group classes, and I travel to teach. So you can look me up, Ernest Williams Tango, and find out what's going on. But anyway, right now, I want to say goodbye. My battery's running low on my camera phone right there, so I don't want it to die out. Anyway, thank you for joining me. This is Ernest Williams, the Ernest Williams Tango Show. Let me know what you think, even if you're watching the replay. All right? Bye now.